If your users have ever caught you off guard with a conference call that you weren't expecting and you had to scramble to get them up and running, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Alright, thank you guys for watching. This is the Surface Book Pro 6. Had it in the office, I thought I'd review it and whether or not it can be good for you. Our specific use case is that we had a teacher who was good with art and they could stand up at the front of the classroom, draw on it. They used the Wi-Fi adapter to plug into the projector, and then they would cast from this to that. We have other smartboard type things, but this really worked because it had the pen. It was very accurate, and it really worked well for that particular instance. So let's talk about the device itself. The Surface Pro 6, in our configuration, we have the keyboard that goes with it, making it basically a laptop. But we also have the pen as well, and that has tips that both interact, so you can erase and have different pressure sensitivities with the tip, allowing you to draw hard and light if you really are into that. My thoughts are that it's a Surface Pro 6, so they are pretty good out of the box. But let's actually test that. Let's see what we can actually do on that. So before further ado, let's go and test its performance. So before we start the test, I wanted to let you know that this is using the Intel i5 8350U processor that has a base speed of 1.9, and it will underclock itself when it's idle, and it'll boost up about in the 2.4 range. It'll spike up there. Likes to sit around 2 when you're doing stuff. So, and it's got integrated graphics using the UHD 6020 or 620 graphics. That's 4 gigs of shared memory. The RAM is 8 gigs, and it's got Wi-Fi and an SSD. So I just thought I'd share that. Anyway, getting back to this Blender test, I'm using the July 3rd splash screen that's 2.83. And I switched it over to cycles, and I wanted to see how long it would take. And for this particular machine, it took 43 minutes, 1 second. And coming from GPU, as a person who does Blender and renders on a 1080 Ti, I can say that that's quite a bit of time. So that might not be this might not be what you're into for that. But I will say that the GPU liked to stick around 54 to 56 degrees Celsius on average, with the spikes into 62, about there. So as for temperatures, it actually did fairly well for a device of this class. Stayed very quiet. If we open up a new scene in Blender and we just sort of manipulate the interface, see how we're going, we can see that we aren't really getting much in the way of any kind of slowdowns. If we were to cycle over to Eevee, same thing with the basic cube. If I were to change the renderer over to cycles, seems to be fairly good, but that's of course just with the basic cube. Rotate that a little bit for you. If I were to make like a new plane and just sort of manipulate stuff. So for simple scenes, yeah, it looks like it's doing pretty good. Opening up the sample splash screen that we used to do the test, We can notice that it takes quite a while in shaded view just to load everything. There it's going, it's still going. So that was probably about 1:30 to get this fully loaded up in shader view mode. So somewhere between the very ease of use of just a simple cube with a plane to all of this, you're going to experience quite a bit of slowdown where you wouldn't get that on a dedicated GPU. And that's just an EV. So if you throw it into rendered view mode, it's going to take a while for everything to sort of get up to date, and don't even talk about doing the whole animation. As for rendering in the Eevee, it's not as long, but you're still going to wish you had something more powerful. And as you can see, just panning is really kind of struggling to keep up, and it isn't something that you would really want to have to deal with. If you were just using it to do simple stuff like open up Word, any computer can do word processing pretty much nowadays. Hi, how are you today? I wouldn't want to use this keyboard for very long. I would want to have my own. You don't get that many USB ports. There's nothing on the side of the pen here. So as for the I/O, talking about not wanting to use the keyboard, you get this. One USB port and one, I believe that's a micro display port. I'll have to check that out. But the point is, you get one USB port. Why would you ever do that? Quite literally, if you look on all these other sides, it's just smooth and smooth and smooth, and then you just get the place where the keyboard plugs in. So it is quite weird. Like, even when this came out, like, you would think you would have more than just one, but it is what it is, and there isn't much fighting because there are obviously newer Surface Books out, but I did not have access to this until then, so I'm reviewing it now. And that's how that works. Anyway, the point is, you can't have both a mouse and a keyboard. You would need a dongle for a USB splitter, which I find annoying. I like to have devices with enough I/O to make that so I don't need that. But otherwise, it is a very tight and compact Surface. So let's, speaking of Surface, let's open up a program and to see what we can do. So I have an application called ArtRage. I have the version 3 of this. This is version 6. So I used this many years ago. Actually, it looks like it doesn't really change any. Looks like the sensitivity. Yeah, there we go. So this has sensitivity and erase. Yeah, take a look at that. Let me actually point the camera right to it. We have different tools. We can do a spray brush. We can paint. Notice that if I do it lightly, I can just kind of get it. And then if I push real hard, you get a nice big stroke. We can change the color. Let's get the roller brush. Let's get a simple. There we go. Simple Silicon. So, drawing seems to be fairly nice. Drawing is something I've always wanted to get into, but every time I've tried, I've just never quite got to be able to draw the things that I like to draw. Instead, my talents have gone into IT support, photography, cinematography, making YouTube videos such as this one, and doing stuff like with Blender and video editing and creative writing, but drawing, it's a thing I've never really been able to get the hang of. But we, as in everyone in the audience, would like to be a good drawer. And if you didn't want to just buy pens and paper and all sorts of other spray brushes and stuff in the real world and actually sit down and draw and get all messy and everything, a Surface Pro tablet would be a pretty good option for that. I mean, many tablets would be a good option, but I'm not as critical with the feel. Like, I am sure there's some very picky people who are like, no, use a Wacom tablet because Wacoms have it down, and or use an iPad Pro, or use this, that, or the other thing. So I can't really give you, oh, there's some lag there, did you see that? So I can't really give you the most, it's just good for drawing. I mean, I drew this. It's more like I painted the background blue and wrote my channel's name in it, but it worked. And it's a Microsoft tablet as well. So, and it's trying to be a laptop at the same time, but whatever. You can do all sorts of other things, word processing, Excel documents, browsing a YouTube video. And it comes with this nice little pen. So we can save that. Oh, it won't let you save. Oh well. But if you go full screen and you just do Windows print screen, oh well, I guess that's not in the spirit of the demo, but we can close all of those. If we were to, for instance, open a YouTube video and we were to play back one of my 4K ones, YouTube video, one of mine shot on the Sony FS5, we are sitting at 1440. Let's bump it up to 4K, and again, there's no issues. But any laptop you buy today, even a bad one, seems to be able to play video just fine. So it's not really a test anymore, but we could see how well it picks up audio. This whole thing that you can slide off, as well as IR features. We'll see if that works with Windows Hello. Overall, it's very nice. Audio seems to be alright. Let's get my final thoughts. This wraps up the video about the Surface Pro 6. It is a pretty cool device. It's very gorgeous and it looks very nice. It feels very nice in the hand as well, and it comes with the pen. It has a camera and it can do all of that. It's on the back. But if you're getting this, you're doing it to be creative. I mean, it's just set up for that. If you're going to need a laptop on the go, just get a laptop. If you're going to get a Surface Pro 6 or any of its other variants because you want to be creative, I know what other people might say, that's not what it's really there for, but that is what it's here for. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm your host, Dan, for Simple Silicon. And if you like this video, hit subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment below. If your feelings are more complicated, then thumbs up and thumbs down. Otherwise, definitely give a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye for now.